ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ये सिर्फ नाम नहीं है,
When I stopped the war between Pakistan and India,
It was Donald Trump's post on Truth Social where he claimed mediation on Operation Sindoor that stumped everyone. Most importantly, the two nations in the middle of the 90-hour conflict, Bharat and Pakistan. While Pakistan, via its Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, immediately jumped to thank Trump on X, Bharat held back and waited. All Bharat did was to confirm that there has been a pause in hostilities at the behest of the Pakistanis who had called for a truce via their DGMO. What was unique about Donald Trump's claims of interference and mediation was that he made the announcement even before India or Pakistan could issue statements and confirm the development. Not only was this a diplomatic transgression, it was also perhaps a breach of trust. Trump's braggadocio on timelines and using trade as a tool were also far from the facts of what was actually happening or actually happened in Operation Sindoor. Let us try and understand the timelines a little bit. Bharat struck Pakistan-based terror infrastructure on the intervening night of May 7th and May 8th. It is now public knowledge that these strikes were in response to the Pahalgam terror attack and as a result of proof of involvement of Pak-backed and Pak-based terror outfits in the planning, execution and implementation of the same. Bharat had actually informed Pakistan about the strikes even before they were executed, underlining the fact that no military or civilian establishments were going to be targeted and that Bharat would stop with these strikes if Pakistan exercised restraint. Operation Sindoor was retaliation for Pahalgam and India desired no further escalation. This was clearly mentioned to the Pakistanis. It was Pakistan that stepped up the escalation ladder by systematically targeting military and civilian establishment on Indian territory hours later on the 8th of May. Pakistan attacked India with drones, projectiles and even ballistic missiles. All these attacks were thwarted by effective indigenous integrated defense systems developed by Bharat. Now, all through May 7th and May 8th, there was no comment or post by Donald Trump on Operation Sindoor. In fact, the Americans just did not want to get involved. This is what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say on the 8th of May. Quote, "We can't control these countries though. Fundamentally, India has its gripes with Pakistan. Pakistan has responded to India. What we can do is try to encourage these folks to de-escalate a little bit. But we are not going to get involved in the middle of war. That's fundamentally none of our business and has nothing to do with America's ability to control it." Unquote. Again further, quote, "America can't tell the Indians to lay down their arms. We can't tell the Pakistanis to lay down their arms. And so we are going to continue to pursue this thing through diplomatic channels. Our hope and our expectation is that this is not going to spiral into a broader regional war or, God forbid, a nuclear conflict. But sure, we are worried about these things. But I think the job of diplomacy, but also the job of cooler heads in India and Pakistan is to make sure this doesn't become a nuclear war. If it happened, of course, it would be disastrous. Right now, we don't think that's going to happen." Unquote. So clearly, the Americans wanted no part in this conflict. They were very clear via J.D. Vance that neither Bharat or Pakistan could be asked to stop. And America just now at this point did not want to intervene. Then, Bharat decided to respond to Pakistan's aggression and attempted targeting of military and civilian establishments with precise, pinpoint punitive strikes at 11 of Pakistani air bases and critical military installations. And this was all through 8th and 9th of May, all this while the Americans were trying to say that we are not getting involved and we are not talking to anybody and nor are we intervening. The damage was vast and impact decisive of Operation Sindoor counter strikes at the Pak military establishments or installations. Pakistan panicked and perhaps so did the Americans who were watching very closely. Pakistan's nuclear bogey had been busted, a clear threshold below the nuclear threat had been defined and a significant message of deterrence had been delivered. Reports now suggest, with corroboration via satellite images, that key air bases and installations near Pakistan's nuclear sites suffered severe damage, with some of the air bases still not functional months after Operation Sindoor. It was this damage that forced Pakistan to call for truce. Now, whether there was pressure from the Americans and the Chinese on the Pak military to de-escalate and back off is still a huge subject of debate. But the Pak reliance on Chinese satellites, intelligence, weapon systems, and American expertise and equipment is clearly established. President Trump himself hasn't refuted reports of Pakistan losing military aircraft and equipment of American origin. Trump may have used trade as a carrot to get Pakistan to heel, but there was never any conversation on these lines with Bharat. In fact, Pakistan climbed the escalation ladder after J.D. Vance spoke with both Pakistan and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 8th of May. There was no conversation between President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi all through those 90 hours. Then how can Donald Trump claim credit? Short of calling him a liar, Bharat has actually put out the facts and politely declined any credit to Trump for the pause on Operation Sindoor. Perhaps this is Donald Trump's attempt at presenting himself as a global peacemaker, claiming to have settled several disputes to boost his standing at home and abroad. His team, including Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, hinted he deserved a Nobel Peace Prize for brokering ceasefires such as India-Pakistan. Now, by taking credit, he sought to show US influence over nuclear powers and showcase his diplomatic success, his own diplomatic success. But the fact is, he never got involved. He never spoke during those 90 hours or tweeted or said anything. Now, tying the ceasefire to trade benefits, suggesting his mediation was linked to economic leverages in talks between India and Pakistan. He's repeated this again and again, but there is no proof of the same. No evidence of the same. And Bharat has never accepted this position. Now, with mixed signals from his administration back home, Donald Trump's claims aimed at projecting active US involvement and perhaps divert attention from policy confusion / chaos. Even his ex-NSA John Bolton said Trump's habit of claiming every success reflected ego and self-promotion, not accuracy. Sorry, Donald, this trumpet on Op Sindoor is off key.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.